So if you have an office space with a design challenge and you aren't a fan of it, i.e. the flooring is horrible, there's a really bad wall covering on the walls, there's no windows in your office, some limitation that's less than ideal, and you're really frustrated by it and you think it's going to ruin your whole office, I want to explain to you today how those are actually really lucky and you're fortunate to have those. So most of the time, limitations or elements that are less than ideal tend to be the source of the best designs. So I had an early education lobby I was working on once, and I was just told it was a church narthex gathering area, and it was being turned into an early education lobby. And I was told, design it. Well, I would love to. But because there were no limitations, that meant the sky was the limit. I could have gone a million different ways with the design. I could have done the principal's favorite color. I could have done the school colors, which is where I was leaning at the time. I could have just, done primary colors just because it was an elementary space and that associates well with littles. But I was talking to the kindergarten teacher one day and I said, is there anything that has to stay? And she said, yes, this mural of Noah's Ark has to stay. Well, that gave me the direction that I could build off of. And so while someone might think, oh, there's no limitations, sky's the limit, I can do whatever I want, that's the dream. It's not really, because then you have too many options and that leads to overwhelm. And then there's nothing to kind of direct and focus what you're gonna design. And so in that case, once I knew that mural was staying, it gave me a color palette, it gave me some motifs to work off of, and I was able to then design the space and to be really fun and something that the kids and the adults really liked. So in that case, that's one example of how having something that's going to stay with the space will work to your benefit. The second thing that has happened quite a bit is I will be working with a new client and they're moving into a new office space, and the property manager gives them a bag of carpet binders of finishes and tells them to pick something. Well, what has happened more often than not is these carpet binders, this is what a carpet binder looks like. And so this is what we pull our finishes from. So this is a carpet binder. So imagine this, instead of looking all beautiful like this one is, imagine it looking gray, dirty, banged up, ripped. Carpet options might actually be missing, or really, really, really poor quality. This is a beautiful carpet binder, which I'm going to visit later because the carpets in here are delicious. But anyways, that is what people are being given and then told, pick something. Well, you don't have to pick from that binder. First of all, there is wiggle room. I'll touch on this in a later video, but you can pick a more expensive carpet. You'll probably have to pay above and beyond whatever your allowance is that you have built into your contract. But if you're okay with that, then that opens things up a little bit. So that is an option you have. But second of all, if you're really excited about moving into your new office space and suddenly you're given this ugly, beat up, horrible carpet binder, that's devastating. I've literally, both clients this happened to, they called me and they're like, they were so excited and then they ended up in tears just because their excitement was dashed. And I don't blame them. You're excited about something and then you're going to be shown an ugly binder. No, that is not acceptable. So that's when you call me and I will call the contractor and I will get you a good binder because that's not, no. Okay. So if you've been given one of those ugly binders that has ugly TI carpet in it, we might have to work with that. And by we, I mean you and your designer. But because I don't know your designer, I'm going to stand in. You could work with that. And there's ways to make it less ugly. Maybe you could put down an area rug so that the carpet is more of a field color. And then the area rug is what is attractive to look at. And so that's an option that you could do. Or if you're not going to be in the space for very long, just find the least objectionable color. So perhaps a neutral or something that you don't hate It's good enough. But if you're going to be there a while, then it makes sense to look at another option that you can invest in. Another obstacle that people often have is a tight timeline. So a few years back, I was called on the Tuesday of the week of Thanksgiving, and I was told that they wanted to move into their office January 1 of the following year. So that means I had about not even quite 8 weeks. It was almost more 6 weeks because we had 3 major holidays. We had Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve in there. And we were replacing the carpet, we were painting walls, and we had to get new furniture into the space. That is a lot of work to get done in 6 weeks. We almost made it. The selections were made, the finishes were in, but there were some things that limited us. And so we couldn't quite get it all in. But my point is that we were able to get it done. The things you have to understand if you have a tight timeline like that is that decisions have to be made immediately. There's no time for second guessing. There's no time for what ifs. And there's definitely no time for, can you show me something else? If I'm coming in to a design presentation, I'm showing you what is available to you. And that's really what you have. There's not much wiggle room. But the good part of that is there's no time for second guessing. And I find that to be really actually very helpful because you make the decision and you move on. That's also something I really like about commercial interior design is that you have to keep making decisions. I mean, this isn't your only thing you have to think about. You have your job, your business to run. And so this is how I can help you streamline that time to make the most efficient use of your time. So time crunches can be a really good thing. The time when they get frustrating for me is when I'm told that, this also happened to me. I was told right after the 4th of July that a school wanted carpet reselected and it had to be selected, ordered, and installed by the first day of school. Okay, again, that's an extremely tight timeline. Yes, we did quick ship carpet, but and there's beautiful quick ship carpet. I love quick ship carpet. There's nothing wrong with it, but I could have found a much more appropriate option for the school if I had known. Right after we ordered the carpet, the school board decided that they were going to wait and install the carpet during Christmas break, which then would have given me the time and the ability to pick any carpet that I wanted and to have made that really good decision. So it happens. I don't have a problem with it. It's the nature of the beast, but sometimes those things happen. So timeline can also be a sticky wicket. The other thing that happens sometimes is when a finish that you have selected, you've had plenty of time, you all selected it, we have to reselect it. And I hate making those phone calls. Typically I get the phone call from the manufacturer's rep or from the company that we ordered furniture from, and they tell me the furniture is back ordered, or the product, the fabric, for example, or wall covering has been discontinued and we need to reselect. Most times it actually works out to our favor because we've had time to think about what the project really needs. And maybe that reselect has allowed us the option to say, you know what, let's move that on to another phase, or we don't really need that anymore. Something else has become a priority, or we're able to find something that is a way better solution that maybe wasn't available when we originally made that selection. So reselects, they may not be ideal, but they have proven to be a benefit more often than not during my career. Another common issue is space issues. Sometimes you have way too much. After, of course, the Rona, a lot of companies shrunk down because people went virtual. So what do you do with this extra space? That is definitely a problem. You're paying for it. What do you've signed a contract, what do you do with it? So that's a problem. Or you're just starting out and you are using a much smaller space than what you would ideally want. Both of those are problems, but both of those can provide really great opportunities for creativity. Perhaps with the too much space, you're able to invite other companies in that you know are starting out. Perhaps you're in a networking group and you know somebody's just starting out in their business. You can offer them to work in a small corner. They would appreciate the opportunity, and it kind of allows for mentor-mentee sponsor kind of opportunity where people, obviously you probably don't want it to be in the same profession, but you allow people to see how a successful company works and there's benefits. If you have too small of a space, then you have the opportunity to be creative with how are we going to work on our furniture layout, or how can we maximize the space we have? How can we get creative with storage? There are benefits to it. You know, when you're pushed into a corner, you tend to get resourceful. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's something else that a space issue can afford. So those are a few of the issues that I've come across in a space that on first blush look like problems, but they're actually beneficial to your project. I'm really curious, have you ever had any projects where you had an issue that seemed to be a problem at first, but actually worked out to your benefit? I'd love to know about it. If you're struggling with that right now, I'd love to hear about it. There could probably be a quick little suggestion I could offer to help you solve it. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. The next video is listed in the corner. I'd love to have you watch it. And in the meantime, have a great rest of your day.